The book of Genesis, chapter 1 to 10, God and the world. You have chapter 1 to 10, the gods and the world, and 12 to 50, God's favor of Abraham's family. These two parts are these two connected. It's a hinge story. And the design gives us a clue. It gives us to understand the message of the God in the whole. Disorder and darkness. Chapter 1 and 2. 1 to 2. You get a sentence into the Bible. Brings something out order, beauty and goodness. And your life can flourish. God made these creatures, humans, Adam in Hebrew. Makes them his image. His role, reflection of image, God's role in God's character. Representatives of God's rule over this world. And harness of creatures, often harness of beauty and order. And places where even more life can flourish. Blessings. Blesses the human. And the key word is worth. Gives them a garden. And getting the start to build this new world. Choice. Humans have a choice. How to build this world. A tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God has provided what is good and what is not good. But God's giving the dignity, freedom of choice. And you trust God's definition of good or evil. Or to seize the time money. Or for themselves. The stakes are really high. To rebel against God. It's a brave step, because the eternity will give her life himself. This represented the tree of life. In chapter 3, a mysterious figure, a snake is given an introduction, or as a creature God had made. It becomes clear that rebellions against God, most of these humans against rebellion and death. A snake tells a different story. It's choice. It's seizing the knowledge of good and evil. It's not gonna bring death. It's the way to life and to being like God, like himself. The irony are tragic. We know that the humans are already like God, they're already reflecting his image, but rather than trusting God, it sees autonomy, take the knowledge of good and evil for themselves in an instant. And the story spirals of control. The first casualty, human relationship. Man and the woman, how vulnerable they are. They can't even trust each other. They get close, hide their bodies for one another. The second casualty is the simian God, lost. They run and hide from God, and God finds them. And keep blame shifting who rebelled first. Later the story stops. The short poems where God poems the snake and the humans. The tragic consequence of the action. God tells the snake, despite the victory, it is destined for defeat. Eat dust. One day, promise one day the seed, promise of a good from the woman, bring a lethal snake to the needle's head, but great news. It was gonna come with a cost. But the snake will also cause a cost to be seen into as it's being crushed. It's a very mysterious promise. A wounded victor. It's an act of God's grace. They just rebelled. What God's do? Promised to rescue them. Does not raise the consequence of the human decision. God informs them that the life home out in the field, son brought to grief because the rebellion to this consequence to lead to death. This spirals downward, chapter 3 to 11. Writing people reflects on the rebellion and humans' relationship and the fracture every level. This is the story of two brothers, Cain and Abel. Cain is so jealous of his brother that he wants to murder him, but he does it anyways. He murders him in the field. Cain becomes a city where violent the parents refrain. And this is the story of Lamech. He's the first Bible that had more than one wife, criminal them like property. Sing a short song is more violent adventure than Cain that ever was. We get an odd story of the sons of God, referred to good angelical evil beings, or ancient kings who descended of gods, like Imek. They claim any wives that they want, let them led to these good warriors of old, whatever is used right. Humans are building kingdoms with violence and more corruption. Wisconsin. God's broken roads grief and humanity's broken religion ruining each other. So out his passion to protect with his goodness to each other, he washed it clean. A humanity with a great flood. He protects one blameless person. His no one is person commissions him as a new Adam, and the plea applying blessing to God to the world. The hopes are really high, but no one feels to oil at the garden. He goes plants a vineyard and drunks out of his mind. Ham gets shameful to his father in the tent. Yet a new Adam, naked and shame, just like the first. And downward spiral begins again. It all leads to a foundation again. Babylon. Mesopotamia, new technology they have. The brick. Make cities big faster and tower that ever done before. They want to build a new kind of tower. Through the gods. And a great name for themselves. In the image of human rebellion's ignorance. A garden rebellion writ large. And so God humbles his pride and scatters them. Now this is diverse groups of stories. Now screwing there's a point. He get a chance to do the right thing for this world. And humans keep ruining it. The story makes a claim. We live in a good world, but we made it turn bad. Not choosing to define good or evil for ourselves. So we all contribute to this real broken relation, to conflict, violence, and ultimately death. That there's hope. God promises the sentence will come when the victor at the source. Despite the humanity's people turn to bless this world. Question is what God's gonna do next. And they hinge after the stories but that's just Genesis 1 to 11 is all about. The book of Genesis. I just saw the first story. God created all things, makes humans in his image to rule this world behind his half. The humans choose sin and rebellion. That's why the world spins out of control and death, and all leading to rebellion and scattering the people. Babylon. What's God's gonna do to redeem and rule this world? Oh, the scattering Babylon. A genealogy, one family, to eventually an Abraham. To promise to Abraham in chapter 1, as 12 to 1 to 3. God promises Abraham to leave his home and in this new land, a new nation, name his name great and bless him. A promise connected to earlier part of the books. Babylon try to make a great itself. But God in generosity bestow, and I get this no-name guy named Abraham. And blessings echoes the original blessing gave humanity the beginning. But why is God gonna bless Abraham? Like that's not only God's promise. So all the families on the earth and find a blessing in you. And this is key to remember the biblical view of the story. Really bless is really the road to Abraham's family. That's why the Old Testament is gonna focus on this one family. Basically the people of Israel. So Israel, the kingdom of priests, wants to use them and show all the human nations what he's like. Ultimately, it's the probably of prophets, a new messianic king, whose reign will be justice and all to nations. This point in the story, not as really clear, and just keep watching the promise. And the next book will focus on and his family. First Abraham and his family himself, his son is Isaac, his son is John and Jacob, and Jacob has 12 sons. And story of generations, united by two doing things. Each generation of universal things are failures. They keep making bad decisions, mess up their lives, and puts God's promise in jeopardy. But God remains faithful to them, keep rescuing from themselves, and keep committing them to bless them, despite this failing. Abraham's story. Abraham found a big, huge family. He's been through his life. God his men is attracted to his wife. So he denies he's even married to her. It creates of course and a whole lot of problems. Abraham and his wife, they can't have children. So Sarah arranged sleep one of his servant girls. It creates all these problems too. But God bills him out. 15 and 17. It means Abraham to Abraham. Create a covenant. The classic scene. He invites Abraham to look at the night cars and count them. That's how numerous your family is going to be. Despite all the odds. No kids in the way they have at this moment. Looks up at the sky and simply calls God's promise. God responds and his covenant to Abraham. He will become a father of many nations. And then blessing will come onto the whole world. To mark his family, a sign of the covenant and circumcision on the male boys of the family. They remind them the fruit of his family is a gift from God. Lots of kids eventually and dies in a good old age. Prayer places all these themes. Lord Jacob is his name. Deceiver. He accuses his brother Esau and his heritage and his blessing. He deceives old blind father and takes off. He gonna takes fathers and own wives. He only loves one, only Rachel. Because of the rivals in his family. The only thing humbles Jacob is deceived by his uncle Laban, who he cheats him all the years of lives, and the tables of finally turn. Is a humble Jacob thanks to his own lands, and a strange story becomes wrestling with God. It demands God blessings. Some things that never really change, do they? He honors his determination and his blessing on him, and he renames his name to honor wrestles with God. Story of new Jacob his sons, and we come ahead. Jacob, like his sons Joseph to any other brothers, and he gets a special jacket. And 10 other brothers comes to hate Joseph, so they kidnap him, plan to kill him, but they decide to send slavery to Egypt. That's prison, talk about the family failure. But God is with Joseph, orchestrates the lead prison, and keeps elevating Joseph in the second command in Egypt. Saves the nation of Egypt is a famine, and he arranges to sing his brothers and his family. He wants to see it together again. Abraham's family is made for his God's faithfulness, diverts even the most evils of the brothers to save his one life. This is what actually Joseph says at the end of the book. You all planned this for evil, but God planned this for good. Save many lives. These words are distributed at the end of the book because summarize Joseph and his brothers, but the book as a whole, but Genesis 3 and the others, God is selfish to doing evil, but this God is not going to leave this world. He lives faithful, determined to bless him despite the failures. Especially the sincerest promise, descending the woman, defending the book, Genesis 3. This promise when the victor would come, defeat this evil at the source. After connects this promise, thanks to the rise of Abraham. This is the part where God will bring his blessings to this nation. connects to Judah, to the fourth son of Jacob. An extremely important poem, 8 to 9. On his deathbed, wants to bless 12 sons. It comes to Judah. Judah will become the tribe of Israel and the royal leaders, and the king will come and grant the obedience of all the nations, fulfill all God's promise, restore the God's blessing into the whole world. And in this, Jacob dies. Later, Joseph dies too. And the growing family remains to Egypt. The book of Genesis ends. All the future hopes and promises like undeveloped, and it forces you to turn the next page. But for now, that's the book of Genesis.